Welcome to Victims and Villains, a channel dedicated to educating and engaging individuals like yourselves on mental health awareness and suicide prevention through pop culture. My name is Captain Nostalgia. I am a writer, podcaster, and the director of our film festival called Horrific Hope. If you guys would like more information on this year's lineup, sponsors, get your tickets, along with reviews, podcasts, social media links, Patreon, and most importantly, our mental health resource library. All of those can be found in the show notes below. Today we're gearing up to travel to Los Angeles for highway chases, life decision talks, memory lane, because we're talking ambulance. Yeah, I don't know why I went that as long as I did for, Ambulance tells the story of two brothers played by Jake Gyllenhaal and Yayha Abdul-Mateen II, who rob a bank and essentially, in their efforts to escape the police and soon the FBI, they essentially hijack a ambulance and lead them on a really long car chase. What I love most about Ambulance is how simple yet rich its narrative is. I feel like it's been a long time since I've watched an action movie where there haven't just been like twists and turns every which way that you go. Like, this one is just really simple and it's just really elegant. Honestly, I feel like you need a director and a visionary that is actually going to be able to do that. Now, if you would have told me in my lifetime I would have been giving a glowing review to a Michael Bay movie, I probably would have laughed in your face and told you, I bet you $100 that'll never happen. I don't have $100 to give on my person right now, but if you're watching this in the future me, I owe you $100. Because when you come back to movies like The Rock and Bad Boys and Bad Boys 2 and, I feel like it's just an era of Michael Bay that has kind of gotten lost in the parody of who Michael Bay is as a director. Like, these movies are foundational for, like, his career. And he takes really simple stories and executes them extraordinarily well. And Ambulance almost feels like a return to form where he kind of doesn't feel like he's trying to explode everything. And don't get me wrong, there are explosions in this movie, but they're not the main selling point of this movie. This doesn't feel like a 21st century Michael Bay movie, but rather a 20th century Michael Bay movie where he's still trying to like earn his bearings. And this is the Michael Bay that I really enjoy. On the note of Michael Bay, this movie is expertly shot. Like, the camera fluidity is, for the first act, it kind of reaches this point where it's almost to a nauseating level. And I will say that's one of my very few complaints I have about this movie. But overall, the way that the camera work moves and the way that the camera travels throughout the car chases and throughout the ambulance and the way certain shots are framed, I mean, this movie is just expertly choreographed and shot spectacularly well. While you might have great talent behind the camera like Michael Bay, you also need just the same amount of energy and talent on front of the screen. At this point, I'm convinced that Yayha Abdul-Mateen II just cannot give a bad performance. We don't talk about Matrix 4. Mateen is just a really great actor all around, but in Ambulance in particular, like, he's just absolutely spectacular. He is the heartbeat of this movie. Like, this movie doesn't have an emotional core without him. He's vital in bringing forth the drama. And the drama of this, just as a side note, works really well. Like, you would think in this kind of very loud, very fast types of movies, you wouldn't have these little dramatic beats, and it's one of the very, very surprising elements of this movie about how the drama is kind of just sprinkled in throughout. Also, and before I get back to the acting, I just want to say, while we're on the topic of sprinkles, this movie surprised me in the way that it made me laugh. Like, this is a very heavy movie in certain aspects with some of its themes, but the fact that there are just random things that just made me laugh is just a testament to how good the acting and the chemistry and just how tightly knit this movie feels. All right, back to Mateen. So kind of the foundation kind of puts all of the events into motion, and so his performance in this is, you just kind of get to really see him go through a wide range of emotion, and he just rises to it every chance he gets. On the flip side, you have Gyllenhaal. Gyllenhaal, I'm always at a loss for words for how good of a performer Gyllenhaal is. It doesn't matter if he is doing something quiet like Zodiac or insane like Nightcrawler, and even something borderline campy like Spider-Man. He just has this way that he can just kind of charm his way into just about any performance and just really transform and lose himself. And I feel like it's a quality that we don't see a whole lot in when it comes to certain actors. And Gyllenhaal is definitely one of the biggest exceptions for that rule, and his performance in this is just, to say that he commands the screen would be an absolute understatement. He has what I would compare to almost like a Brando and like classic like Hollywood Pacino kind of like quality with some of the scenes that he has in here. This movie doesn't work without him, and if you have Mateen as the heartbeat of the movie, then you have Gyllenhaal as a kind of the action driving force of the film. The action in this movie kind of goes along with what I was talking about with the camera fluidity. This doesn't feel like a modern movie. Like, I don't know how else to describe it. Like, it doesn't feel like modern movies are made. Like, this definitely feels like a film out of time, like you would see or experience this in like the late 90s, early 2000s, but it works so much better than some of the other throwback experiments we've seen. Yeah, I don't know how else to describe it. And so let's go ahead and give this our Rorschach rating. I'm going to go ahead and give this a strong 4 out of 5. This movie, it flows from the opening frame. I mean, it just, within the first 5 minutes, this movie starts and it just does not let up. And you will laugh, you will cry, you will be drawn to the edge of your seat, you'll be gripped, you'll be enthralled, and all of that within the span of 2 hours. This is definitely one of the biggest surprises for me this year, and I'm curious to see at the end of this year if I still feel like this might be one of my biggest surprises. But if you guys have seen Ambulance, let me know in the comments below what you guys thought about it. But let's run to our mental health moment. If you guys are new to our content, Mental Health Moment is where we take a theme of mental health and we pull it out of the movie which we're reviewing in hopes to deconstruct the stigma surrounding mental health, if only for just a few moments. So there is one actress that I haven't talked about, and Eiza González is fantastic in this movie, but her arc in this movie is actually one that I want to talk about for this section of the video. This is what I'm about to say. Like, this isn't a spoiler in any way because all the information I'm about to give you was in the marketing, it's in the trailers. But Eiza plays a EMT that is carjacked along by Gyllenhaal and Mateen. And in the beginning of the movie, she has a very cynical look on life. Kind of like we all do when it comes to work. You punch in, you punch out kind of thing. And in the process of that punch in, punch out attitude, she kind of just gets enthralled with like the routine of life. And the events of this movie really kind of remind her how precious life really is. She has a complete renewal, or at least a brand new lease on life. And that struck me really profoundly coming out of this movie, because I think that sometimes it's really easy for us to go through and just to kind of experience life, but never really stop to actually understand and appreciate life. For us, it's really easy to kind of get wrapped up into routine or into depression or anxiety or any of the things that really affect our mental health. When was the last time that we really stopped to appreciate life? When was the last time that we were just constructed a list of things that we were thankful for, and we were just thankful that we woke up and got to experience the day? That's an encouragement to you to stop and breathe and just appreciate life for the moments, because they're fleeting. And as always, if you need someone to talk to, or you need any resources, click the links in our descriptions below. Thank you guys for watching.